Hello everyone, this is Alicia Jackson, licensed professional counselor, doing my response to Ready to Love, season 5. I don't know why, some places say it's season 4, but it's actually season 5. Uh, so thank you for your patience with that. But yeah, season 5, it was a pool party, so everybody got to see, everybody's situations and then also kind of see everybody's connections too. So, there were some mixers, but now we're seeing like who's connected with who and all of that jazz. So let's jump into it. Um, so we see a lot of people just kind of clicking up. Corey was very intentional with sitting at the pool party. Like he wanted to connect with Courtney, make her feel special. And we see how that backfired, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But he was being intentional with that. And then he also said that he was planning on meeting with Mumin and also making her feel special as well. I think where the error in his way, well, one of them for sure, is the fact that he was doing this in front of everyone. So that complicated things as this episode progresses. So Camille and Cornelius. So she's again coming in full force. I want to put in all of my effort in. And she was like, with me? And he was like, yes, for you. But it didn't, I don't believe Cornelius, from just watching his body language, his eyes, when he's talking to Camille, I see him more just trying to appease her and trying to keep her at bay. And so a lot of the eye movements he's making, it's not matching his words. And so he's trying to protect himself and manage her emotions, like not upset her, not mess up the connection that they do have, and at the same time still try to see what's out there with the other ladies. So as the pool party's progressing, people, Courtney's trying to figure out who sent her these notes and whatnot. And Walter kind of threw a little shade at Corey, saying that, yeah, it's probably Corey who's doing this because he seems like the type. And I thought that was kind of funny. I saw it as shade. I didn't see it as a compliment. Maybe it's my view, but it just seemed like he was saying like he's the type of guy to do something like corny is not bad. Let's say that, right? But corny on top of like being just like showy and not being sincere, like that's kind of how Corey presents himself to me. He seems corny, but it's not sincere. And so then it's like extra, it's not, if it's corny and it's sincere, it works. But when it's not, nah, boo. And so that's what I kind of felt what Walter was saying about him. And so then we see Tyrone and Shiloh in the pool. And now they, to this point, have not had a date. They have connected via phone and messaging and FaceTime and all that jazz. But Tyrone has been really cultivating his relationship with Sabrina and also with Shiloh. And he's saying that he sees that Sabrina could be his lady, but Shiloh could be his wife. And so he communicated that. I feel that gold star for being transparent. But I feel like the timing was inappropriate. Just because I feel like not having a date with Shiloh, not really knowing Shiloh well enough, it comes off, putting her in a space where it seems like she felt uncomfortable. And I'll talk about more of that, like when we talk about the ladies lounge conversation. But it seemed like she was put off guard by, like, she actually jolted by it. Sabrina was confused when he told her. And she was, kind of crushed. And then she started to, be a little catty and during the ladies lounge we saw that too. But I understand her feelings were hurt. I get it. But I think Tyrone's, timing, he just, you can have those feelings, but then also still follow through and see what you see from both ladies, you know, and to make your determination, communicating that so fast in the process and so fast after, again, not having one date. Their first date was at the end when he got dismissed. So I think it's just his timing was really off. So then after that happened, Nephew Tommy adds in two new guests, Sydney and Sean, to spice up things a little bit, kick people off the game. And so the ladies had like a little gathering around Sean, and he's talking, and some of them felt dismissed, but he tried to engage them in the process. What seems to be happening there is Aisha for sure and Sean are having a connection. We see that later progresses with the date. We'll talk about that shortly. And then Frank and Sydney knew each other before. They work in the same industry, and so they had a prior connection, and so they are seeing, building and trying to see how that goes with them. So that connection's promising. So what I can say, what we also see though is with Mumin and Corey. So they are flirting with each other. He's asking her random questions about hot dog toppings. I don't understand. How is this helping you get to know Mumin? And again, they may have the deepest conversations off camera, but on camera, he is like, very shallow, just ankle deep water. Corey, what's happening there? So they're talking. Sydney and Cornelius, they are just sitting at the table talking. He's not touching her. He hasn't kissed her. They are just sitting at the table talking. And Camille has a moment. She has a big moment. This behavior, I would classify it really as like a tantrum, where she was crying. She even whispered I don't want him no more. And Mumin, who is actually almost, I think she's almost 10 years younger than her, had to, try to calm her down. She's like, oh, my energy's too high. She's like, yeah, just bring it down. And so she did talk to Cornelius, and some of the language that she was using really caught me off guard. I was really surprised by her, her word choices and her, and there was definitely some coercive language we would classify as manipulative, and then demeaning. So she called him a country bumpkin, and then called him dumb, saying that he doesn't understand how other women are trying to interact with him. And I'm like, well, wouldn't you trust his intuition for him to know what's best for himself? It's like she doesn't trust him. She doesn't see her worth to know that he's going to choose somebody else, or she feels like he's going to be led astray because she is maybe, she is a woman of, Christian faith. She's trying to hold her, at least in this relationship, be save herself until marriage, where maybe other ladies aren't. So maybe she feels intimidated by that. I don't know. But then she was also saying I was testing you, and you getting an F. And you're an F student right now. That's what she said. And so I was like, okay, I get you're a teacher and you're using this as an analogy, and at the same time, you're testing him. I don't get it. I don't get it. This is the nature of the show. You knew this when you came on the show. You know that other people are going to try to connect with other people, and you're calling him your boyfriend. And I just see again where she's trying to make the decision for him without him making that decision for himself. And that's going to get really old. He was quiet. He made faces. He was stunned by what she was saying. But he also I didn't see in the episode where he was I'm really offended by what you said. Like, I didn't see his voice in this. And so that kind of concerned me. I feel like Cornelius is like a Mr. Nice Guy, but like nice as in nice, like he doesn't protect his feelings or set his boundaries firm. And I don't see where he's setting firm boundaries with Camille about, hey, we talked about this. And she said at the beginning of the episode that they did set boundaries and talk about respect. And I'm really curious about that conversation because she was very disrespectful towards him. And she later apologized and he accepted the apology. He took that as growth. I take growth as changed behavior. So if she's going to allow him, and it's interesting that we even have to say allow him because he don't need her permission, but she's going to let the reins, loosen the reins of control so that Cornelius can see other ladies, talk to other women to see, you know what I got with Camille is what I want, versus him being robbed of that experience and then resenting Camille for it afterwards. So Phil, we saw Phil kind of flirting with Tashia and connecting with her. I truly feel that it seems that even the diary or confession, in the confession he talked about like feeling like, I want to make sure I'm not on the chopping block. So it kind of seemed like he was just trying to connect with Tashia just to avoid elimination. But that's just, it seems that way to me. Frank did witness that Sean was kind of trying to connect with Aisha, and that is one of his strongest connections. So he was like, pretty intimidated by that. So I'm going to see how, it's going to be interesting how Frank kind of navigates that situation. He comes off kind of showy, but he still has like, it seems like he does have some depth there. So we're going to see how Frank handles this situation with them. So now we get into the nitty gritty. So after the pool party, Mumin and Corey have a date. And so Mumin questions him about this whole pool situation. She's seeing it and she's like, what's up with that? And he does not answer the questions. He's not upfront. And this is where me and Corey, I'm like, brother, help me out. He does not, what made you think? Or who told you that? Like, why people think? Corey, it's not like a huge mystery here. There's only certain number of people and certain people are connecting with. And so like, they know people are, it's a game, really, outside of trying to connect with people, it's a game. So they know who's connecting with who. And if Courtney is like going around, they're like, oh, well, Corey, I know that they were trying to kick it. Cornelius, I don't think Cornelius would do that because Camille would have a fit. Okay. So, I just don't understand why he wasn't upfront and honest with her and then tried to dodge it by saying, oh, and he started using sentences that didn't make sense, that weren't logical. And Mumin, called him out on that. She's like, I just don't, what you're saying is confusing me. And then invited her to meet his parents to get approval. I just don't understand what's happening. Like, I just don't understand. Corey just really comes off as truly, truly dishonest. And it's showing even more as we continue the episode. Okay, so Camille and Cornelius come back the following day and she apologizes again. Like, so she apologizes. But again, I really see that Cornelius does not have, at least in this moment, maybe he'll hopefully in future episodes try to set some firm boundaries with her, but I just don't see him. I don't see him, and I don't see her respecting them. She comes up as someone who is going to get what she needs despite how it might make someone else feel. She does get brownie points for sure for owning her stuff and even apologizing without even Cornelius mentioning anything to her. So that is definitely a step in the right direction, but I just need to see like change behavior. That's what I'm waiting on. So we see that with the new people, Sean and Aisha, they have their date. And something that I noticed about Aisha, because she did it with Carrington, she's doing it now with Sean. Like whenever she's assessing, and she's asking the important questions up front before the feelings, before the touches, get too hot and heavy. Hey, I'm this age. I have 2 kids. You don't have any kids. Do you want kids? Because I don't. And so making sure that they are aligned and want the same thing. And she's like, and even make sure for yourself. Like, are me and my 2 kids going to be enough for you? I think that is like that's a great check-in. Like that's a great check-in point for her to have with him. It shows that she respects him enough to make sure that she's looking out to make sure that his needs are met so he feels fulfilled in the relationship. And that was really great to see. So I applaud her for that. It shows that she really has been doing the work for herself, and she's communicating her needs and concerns first before things get, to places where you already, your feelings are all into it, and now you're connected with the person, and you're like, you don't want kids. I don't want kids, but you do. I don't know what we're gonna do, and it makes it harder. So that was great to see. So now we're at the ladies' lounge. Ladies' lounge, women are talking about who they're connecting with. Sydney, she likes Dante and Frank. Shiloh is liking Phil and Tyrone. Tasia is liking Phil. Courtney is talking about her connection with Cornelius and Corey. And then Courtney spills the tea. Like, hey, he was putting these notes everywhere. I'm pulling them out. I'm reading these notes. And some of the things that he was saying to Courtney, he was also saying to Mumin. And Mumin called them out, and they had an exchange of swapping stories between him, and both of them got a parent invite in Uchao. So that's how Corey got dismissed. And even in his dismissal, he was still not owning up to the fact that he is just not being genuine and making these connections. He's being dishonest. And I want to almost do like a separate video about both him and Tyrone, because I see some similarities, but I also see some differences. And I just see some deficits, in this. And I'll stop there. But I see some deficits where they're just struggling. But Sydney, she said that Cornelius gave off some big brother vibes. Little brother vibes. And I really just feel like the reason why he did it, because he doesn't feel like he has permission to fully commit to this experience from Camille. So he's just like kind of put himself, he said, I'm like kind of just walking on eggshells. I feel like I got a target on my back, and I'm like, whoa, that's just, he can't even participate. Like, he should just have to do it again next year, because he cannot participate in this situation. Shiloh, during the ladies' lounge, talked about how she had a connection with Phil, and then also had a connection with Tyrone. And then the women talked about Tyrone and Sabrina as well. And a part of me feels like, that maybe Shiloh, like, she's saying that she has a connection with Tyrone, and I believe that. I believe that maybe her connection isn't strong enough. Well, it wasn't strong enough, and it definitely wasn't because he was eliminated. But it seems like maybe it was definitely in a case where he was liking her more than she was liking him. Shiloh is very open. You know, with her, again, being an intimacy coach, she leads with her heart. And sometimes that can be like a really warm place for a man to reside in that warm place in her heart. And she's just leading, and she's being, you know, she's being her nurturing, loving self. She's being open. She's open to his feelings. And it seems like that was something that really caught Tyrone, you know, off guard, and he was like fully into her because of that. But I feel like that was probably the thing that made him really say, I want, I'm marrying Shiloh. And it just, in that space though, it kind of almost, it felt like he was trying to force her to make that decision before she was ready. And I'm glad that she used her voice to say, like, I'm going to fully commit to this process, which is what Cornelius needs to do. I'm going to fully commit to this process, and I'm going to continue. And it's unfortunate because, you can tell Sabrina was definitely hurt by Tyrone's decision. But getting back to the deficits, what I see with Corey and Tyrone, Tyrone is being more honest in his deficit by saying he's awkward. He's a tech guy. Corey, on the other hand, is trying to maneuver. Like, he's trying to maneuver and be crafty in his connections with women, and not. He has the same deficits, though he is not equipped to really connect with women on a genuine level, where Tyrone is, but he still struggles in just like socially connection. And that's what they both have. You can tell that they just don't know how to connect with women in a way. They don't feel comfortable, at least, to be their full selves, and there's definitely some anxiety there with that. And it's just unfortunate. I'm hoping that Corey can mature, even at 40, can mature to be able to be himself and feel secure to be himself, because there's definitely some insecurities there. And similar for Tyrone, he definitely, you can tell, has a warm heart, for sure, but there's definitely some things he still needs to kind of navigate with just relationships and connecting, with people, and hopefully that progresses. But we'll see how it goes. Of course, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this episode. It's going to get interesting as we see next episode. They have to date people that they're not connected to, and Camille is at it again. So, see you guys next week. Take care. Peace.